page. Go. Thanks. good evening, and thanks for joining us for Football New South Wales coverage of the 2024 NPL Men's New South Wales season. This is Eric Subiano coming to you live from the Arctic Circle for Northwest Sydney Spirit versus Sydney FC. Well, the opening weekend of a season, it's the time to dream for fans, players and coaches. Everyone starts on the same footing, and it's the time to wonder, is this the year that my team takes it all? We've got 30 rounds ahead of you in this competition, plenty of drama to cover, and it's a privilege to be bringing this competition to you once again via the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Thanks for tuning in. So as we go through the usual pre-match formalities, let's go through the two starting lineups. Firstly, for Spirit, in goal, number 1, Chris Marquez. We're expecting a back three of the captain, number 8, Grant Cornwell, number 16, Ante Bakmaz, and number 13, Simon Nicholas. 4 in the Spirit midfield, number 17, Jake Chidiak, number 4, Jared McKinley, number 20, Jared Lum, and number 11, Ollie Wigan. And the 3 up front, number 21, Luis Lobo, number 9, Yanni Bazukis, and number 19, Jesse Michelle. While for Sydney FC, the youth academy that continues to finish high up in the table, and their squad seemingly gets younger and younger every year. Their lineup, in goal, number 30, Gus Hoofslot, and the rest of their lineup, number 3, Tyler Williams, number 4, Joseph Kalasic, number 5, Meliwetu and Como, number 6, Dylan Rose, number 8, Lachlan Middleton, number 9, Bailey Callahan, number 10, Thiago Quintal, number 11, Marin France, number 13, Jacob Brezetta, and number 21, Zachary De Jesus. So we do see the two captains, Grant Cornwell for Spirit and Dylan Rose for Sydney, performing the coin toss. And by the way, what a moment this is for Grant Cornwell, an absolute club legend at Spirit, over 350 appearances, and after missing last year due to an ACL injury, he finally gets to make his first top division appearance for Northwest Sydney Spirit. Might as well, and I believe that's Nigel Owen taking all the photographs for Football New South Wales. So we might go through the two benches. Firstly for Spirit, the backup keepers Jack Greenwood, and the others Kyle Shaw, Bradley Whitworth, Richie Darko, Braden Burr, and Zach Chanchi. Spirit, as always, are coached by David Perkovic. He's coming into his 8th season as in charge of Northwest Sydney Spirit. And there was news in the off-season. David Perkovic signed a new 5-year deal, so he's not just the first-grade head coach, but also the technical director, and that deal will run through to 2028. And David Perkovic assisted by Nick Poreka. While for Sydney FC, so Jimmy Van Buren is the usual coach, but I actually haven't seen him here today in Macquarie Park, but I have seen Howard Thorndike taking charge of things for the young Sky Blues, and Howard Thorndike, of course, a long-time NPL New South Wales men's player as well. So for those of you perhaps less familiar with this competition, it's the normal kits for both. And Northwest Sydney Spirit wearing the traditional colours of the old Gladesville Hornsby Soccer Association, the gold jerseys and the black shorts, while Sydney are in their customary sky blue. And they're getting set to kick off. So for Spirit, it's a chance to build on last season, a very successful season as a newly promoted side where they finished 11th, well away from the relegation battle. While Sydney, a team full of players that, if you can believe it, are still in high school, can they finish in the top half of the table for the 3rd year in a row? Well, we're about to find out the answers to those questions and many more over the course of the next 30 rounds. Referee Sam Kelly looking around. It looks like we're ready to go. And right on cue, there's the whistle. So round 1 underway for Spirit and for Sydney. And a strong defensive header from Nicholas as Wigan hits the synthetic turf and wins the first free kick. Now, of course, there have been games finishing earlier, so there's brilliant action. The season actually opened last night at the home of football on the Northern Beaches, Cromer Park, and a brilliant victory for the home team, Manly United, in front of a big crowd, it has to be said as well. Manly United defeating newly promoted St George FC by 3-0 as Luis Lobos flagged for offside. And there are 2 5 p.m. kickoffs today, so we do have another result. And a bit of a shock at Belmore Sports Ground. Hills United down to 10 men, but no problems. They've won first up, defeating Sydney Olympic by 2-1. And the other 5 p.m. kickoff, Sydney United defeated Central Coast Mariners by 2-1 at Plume Park. So I'll try and keep track of the other games going on concurrently to this one, as there's strong work from Wigan and a step over. He's tried to get the better of 2 players. De Jesus covers that well and is able to play it up the touchline. But Spirit, well, this is how David Perkovic wants to play. He doesn't like his team sitting back, and they certainly won't be scared of those youngsters in sky blue. By the way, there's been a little bit of a change to the published kickoff times, at least for one game. So, a game between Western Sydney Wanderers and Sutherland Sharks that was delayed to 7:30 due to lightning in the Rudy Hill area. So that game, as well as the game between Blacktown City and RPI, kicking off at roughly the same time to this one. There was also a 7 p.m. kickoff, Marconi versus Wollongong at the Palace, and a 7:15 p.m. kickoff, St. George City versus Rockdale. So plenty of action. In fact, 7 games today. It's a Super Saturday in the NPL Men's New South Wales competition. By the way, a quick shout out to the third team, the officials, and of course respect to the officials. Very topical and essential. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any games, any competitions at all. So, as I said earlier, the whistle tonight, Sam Kelly, assistant nearest to us, Joel Denijczyk, the assistant on the scoreboard side, Sean Lacey, and today's fourth official, Hayden Mickelmeyer. There's, I think, Nkomo threading the needle down the line, and is Cornwell, who is able to shepherd that out. And so it's a Spirit goal kick, and a brief round of applause from the Spirit faithful gathered mostly to the right of our commentary position. Oh, everyone's almost split into two. There's a lot of Spirit players around the ball for the short goal kick, but they've left 4 up for the longer one as well. And with Sydney tracking all those players, there's actually quite a big gap in the middle of the field as Marquez goes long. There's Michelle, couldn't quite get the flick on. Now Sydney working it with the right side, but Jared Lum positioned nicely. Now Nicholas, he couldn't find, I think that was Bazookas, and here's Tiago Quintal. And Nicholas wins it back and going direct for Jesse Michelle. Hoof slots out. Very good sweeper keeping from that young man. And he sends it actually behind us all the way onto field 2 here at this complex. By the way, if you're a Sydney FC fan, you're absolutely sport for choice, because it's a rare thing where you have, well actually, I'll get on to it in a moment, you have Sydney FC fans sitting at home deciding what to watch. They can try and double screen because their A-League men's team playing at the same time. As there's a nice ball for Bazookas across the box, and at the far post, it goes across the face of goal. And I think that was Chidiak running in, timed the run well, couldn't get the shot on target. And that was nice. Firstly Wigan, and then the new signing, Gianni Bazookas, who comes with a reputation for scoring a lot of goals. This time he nearly turned provider. And in fact, there was an article published by Football New South Wales, I think a couple of weeks ago. Gianni Bazookas coming over here from New Zealand, where he was a star for Wellington Olympic in the New Zealand National League. He's the reigning Golden Boot in that competition, and he scored 104 goals in 130 appearances for Wellington Olympic. And that's what's caught David Perkovic's attention. Now, Michelle the target there. And Kalasic trying to stop Michelle's progress, not really doing so. There's a cutback, and I think it was attempted back heel from Lobo, this time timing the run to meet the ball from the left side. Again, Sydney survive. 5 minutes played here in Macquarie Park. And it's 0-0 between Spirit and Sydney. And I suppose you could call this Macquarie Park melee. Of course, Spirit based in this suburb for a long time. And very recently, Sydney FC moved their headquarters to pretty much within walking distance of this place. The new Sky Park, a great facility. So, interesting one for Sydney FC. Technically the away team, but perhaps for a lot of players, this ground might be closer than their actual home ground, which for this season is Illingdon Sports Centre in Rockdale. Nicholas going backwards. And there's Ante Bakmaz. One of the new signings. He's come over to Spirit from Sydney United and chatting to David Perkovic pre-game. Bit of a full circle moment for Ante Bakmaz. David Perkovic gave Ante his first contract, and now the two of them link up once again. As there's Nkomo. And now it's Quintal shrugging off a couple of tackles, but there's Lobo of all people, known for his attacking, but he's more than willing to do his fair share of defending as well. It's a great covering tackle. They don't necessarily associate that with Lobo, but won the ball very cleanly just outside his own box. By the way, just for to avoid confusion, Meliwetu Nkomo, also known as Richard Nkomo. So just to clarify anything you might have seen in any pre-match programs. In fact, it was the usual Sydney FC NPL coach, Jimmy Van Buren, who was very complimentary about Richard Nkomo's abilities on the Sky Blue Stories podcast. He appeared during the week, well timed by them, ahead of the new NPL New South Wales season. Praised his qualities as a left back, and that's what he's hoping to see by bringing him into the squad for this season. As there's the pass out wide to Lobo, and now Nkomo. What can he do as a defender? Lobo shoots, and it might have taken a little bit of a touch, but nothing that troubles Hoofsloot, and he falls on the ball and doesn't offer any chance of a rebound to on-rushing Spirit attackers. Another way, back to my earlier point about double screening. With Sydney FC A-League's men's team currently leading 2-0 in the closing stages against Adelaide United. So Sydney fans could watch that and watch this potentially at the same time. There was a chance for triple screening, but unfortunately the Sydney women's team, who were playing today, their match against Canberra has been abandoned due to lightning in the area, so that'll be an awkward one for Sydney. The Sydney women's team looks like they're going to face a midweek trip to Canberra between now and the end of the season. As it goes long, Bakmaz heads it up in the air. Another header from Nicholas. And then that's McKinley, another new Spirit signing, finding Chidiak on the far side. Now Sydney wrangling it back. You have De Jesus offering the switch, but I think Sydney, who perhaps trying to slow things down after a frenetic start, and it's very humid here. The weather belying this venue's beloved nickname of the Arctic Circle. It's not usually warm in this place, as there's a cross at an awkward height for Brazzete. Kind of try to direct it towards goal with his thigh almost. It goes nowhere near Chris Marquez's goal. Yeah. Actually, the sun has just about set behind the trees now, so I think it will cool down nicely as the game progresses and could even get to pretty much the perfect conditions for football, especially in the second half as this game develops. Now, that was the clearance from Cornwell and handball signalled by Sam Kelly. We can go around the grounds, so of course all the games, all the Saturday games except for the two that have already finished, of course, they're in progress. So a couple of goals at the Palace, Marconi Stadium, 1-1 between Marconi and Wollongong Wolves. And no goals at Wanderers Football Park, but a red card for the Wanderers. So an early test for Wanderers coach Andrew Christensen, his side down to 10 players with most of the game still remaining against Sutherland Sharks. And a 0-0 in the other games being played. Now, chance maybe for Bazookas, nicks it past one tackle, but there's the covering there. And I think that was, yes, it was the captain, I think, Dylan Rose. And now that is De Jesus, who's moved infield. Skips past the tackle, nice ball here. Chance maybe for Callahan, outside of the foot. And past the keeper, also past the post. Very promising for Sydney FC. The Spirit tried to press high, a couple of quick passes. And then Sydney had room to run. They weren't too far away from scoring the opener. Of course, if you're tuning in, thanks for joining us. Thanks for selecting this game. Certainly sport for choice today. It's great to be covering our wonderful New South Wales state competitions. Once again, a bit of a change this time, but it's great to have games live and free on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Very accessible, if I may say so myself. Ollie Wigan has done enough to win the corner off De Jesus. And I think that is the first corner of this evening's action. Another way, whereas Lewis Lobo trots over for this corner kick. There is a stream tomorrow, League One Men's. Their match of the round, for the men's second tier, Mount Druitt versus Bonnyrigg, 6 p.m. tomorrow. Lobo whips it in, goes near post, and it's an awkward one for Hoofsloot, who doesn't get distance on the punch to the edge of the box. Here's Alam first time, and that will hit the big net behind Hoofsloot's goal. And yes, it's good to see we're maintaining the coverage we did last year. It's as it was in 2023, every game live and free from both the NPL New South Wales men's and the NPL New South Wales women's competitions. Overhead cross there, plus a weekly match of the round from the 2 second tiers, League One women's and League One men's. And the women's competitions, they start, those streams will start on Sunday the 3rd of March. And then it will be a very busy time for the media and all the clubs once every Football New South Wales competition is underway. Now, once again, it was a kind of thing where Spirit almost split their players, so there's 4 up front and the other 6 outfielders close to the keeper. Sydney have won it back this time. Kalasic. And now it's the 2 centre backs, Tyler Williams and Kalasic, playing it with the goalkeeper. And now the midfield and the right back, De Jesus, get involved. Now, interesting run, and Callahan will beat his marker to the ball. Callahan has the options. Quintal wants it on his left foot. Goes across the goal. There's a handball shout, which is ignored. We go on. And Lobo shielding it against Nkomo. And then cleared towards halfway. De Jesus has a bit of time. Chance to grab a breath. Chance for me to grab a breath as well. It's been very good to see the 2 teams looking sharp in round 1. And nothing sluggish about this game. Now, there's a Sydney FC player that's hit the deck, so we'll have a brief stoppage. And apologies, didn't see what's going on there, but we'll have to wait before Zach De Jesus takes this throw in. And on the broadcast side, so to speak, this venue here in Macquarie Park. Now, if everything's all right, just counting the shirts, yep, so no one's had to leave the field, we'll go on. Quintal again, and Quintal might get a second chance, but he's outnumbered by gold jerseys. But Sydney zipping around trying to win the ball on the edge of the Spirit box, and then that's McKinley, who might get the advantage here, and in fact, it's brought back. Lobo unable to make some kind of real advantage, so sorry, I was about to call him Sean Kelly for some reason. Shout out to every cycling fan who knows who that is, but it's Sam Kelly who's the referee today, and he's brought it back for that foul on McKinley. Now, loose pass. And then another good tackle from Lobo, I think it was, according to the shout from David Perkovic. Then, Spirit want a free kick, not going to get it. Quarter of an hour played here at the Arctic Circle. 0-0 between Spirit and Sydney. Eric Subihana here on the mic. Thanks for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. And floodlights are on now, so we're going to have one of my favorite things in football to finish football under lights. Now, there's the shot. Brezetta, I think it was, and the rebound. I think Marquez has done just enough, and his teammates bail him out. There was Cornwell making sure there was no follow-up attempt with Marquez out of position. Keepers have to be, it's really important to be quick over those first 5 meters. Marquez closed down the angle well, and has prevented Sydney from scoring the opener. Now, Spirit coming near side as Wigan resumes his battle with, I think, De Jesus. And he's won a throw in right near the corner flag. Now Jared Lum, who has a fair bit of long throw ability. And it looks like he's going to hurl this one as far as he can into the middle. Jared Lum trying to do his best Megan Campbell impersonation. So there's a bit of a crowd around Gus Hoofslot, the Sydney goalkeeper. There's the hurl. It's good distance as well, and not cleared at the first attempt. Couple of headers from Sydney. Now Lorber, edge of the box, shields it. And there's the shot. Now flags up, so Chidiac with the shot, it was. And I think Jesse Michelle has flagged offside there. Oh, also, speaking pre-game, Jesse Michelle, he's really come out of nowhere. So it's a chance for us to get familiar with the Spirit number 19. But David Perkovic, a player not afraid to try something a little bit different in the recruitment. It's worked so well for him in the past, signing players like Kota Odakura from the Illawarra Premier League. For this year signed Yanni Bazoukas from New Zealand and Jesse Michelle from obscurity, apparently. Now, Brazzetta. And Brazzetta still going. Side netting. And Sydney FC fans are... I love it when that happens. The fans opposite to the side netting that hit thinks it's gone in. It hasn't. Still 0-0. Oh, just something interesting to note. We hope that pattern doesn't continue in this game, but I was just looking at my live score app. There's already been 5 red cards in this round. 3 at the Central Coast Mariners versus Sydney United game, played at 5 p.m. today. It's not often a game finishes 10 on 9, but yeah, certainly a lot of enthusiasm to begin the 2024 NPL Men's New South Wales campaign. In case you're wondering why we're calling this competition a slightly different name this year, putting the men's before New South Wales, that's a Football Australia directive. So, okay, we'll go on with it. There we go around the grounds once more. Rockdale have taken the lead against St George City. And Apia, the defending champions, of course, have taken the lead against Blacktown, who were the champions the year before. Strong defensive header, and now should be enough sky blue, although Spirit will press. Back to the keeper, and despite the fancy flick from Brazzetta, who tried to improvise, he turns it over. Now Nkoma has the chase, and he's 1-on-1. There's Lobo. Backpedaling towards the corner flag, and it gets the support, I think, from Chidiac. Now, Sydney have won it on the far side, and then Wigan jumps in to stop them from building up. Lum, and he's tried to chip Hoofslot. It's dipping, but I think the Sydney shot stopper had it covered. And still, nice idea from Spirit's number 20. And yeah. And Jared Lum, his second season at Spirit. A player with a great deal of experience. Has played professionally for quite a few seasons in Hong Kong. Also, previously played for both the Joeys and the Young Socceroos, Australia's under-17 and under-20 teams. So he's certainly been very valuable ever since coming to Macquarie Park. Now, Hoofslot sweeper keeper again, and safety first again. And someone's going to have to retrieve that. That's gone over the fence. cross from the right-hand side, and it's shall we say, escorted over the line. Watched closely by Hofslot. As the Sydney substitutes walk just in front of our commentary scaffold. Warm up for the first time this evening. Here's pressure. Lots of pressure there from McKinley. And he's outnumbered very quickly. Fascinating battle developing here. As there's not a lot of time on the ball for anyone, even the two keepers. Now, Lawboys, I think he's going to go direct. That was the intention. And it almost gets all the way through to Bazookas. Now it's a centre-back run there from Tyler Williams. And a couple of rebounds. Keeps the ball now in Como with his right foot. Nice switch. I assume that's his weaker foot if he's a left back. And then it's Quintal almost playing the killer ball for Brazete. That's it. So I think that's the first time we've really heard Sydney's coach for tonight, Howard Fondike. Of course, giving the instructions, of course, a very important part of being the coach at an academy side. Sydney, according to the rules, they're an under-23 side, but most of these players actually still in high school. Very impressive to see how they're playing so far. And Como runs into a bit of a black and gold wall there. And now Wigan, he's won the throw-in. Oh, great first touch to bring that out of the sky. And under a little bit of pressure from the opponent. I think that was Kalasic as well. Yeah. Kalasic, part of that, is forming that Sydney centre-back duo for tonight with Tyler Williams. A little pocket of space here. It's closed very quickly, but on Sydney go. Takes three Spirit players to stop that move. McKinley. Lobo. And now that's Chidiac. Chidiac bounces it off Michelle. That's nice. And Chidiac's continued the run. Sydney blocked the way just in time. As Cornwell gets his foot in there, as does McKinley. That's all fair, according to Sam Kelly. Now, Spirit trying the other side, the side nearest to us. I'll be able to see a little bit better. Here's Wigan. I think it tried to backheel it past to Jesus. There's a lot of shirt pulling there. Sam Kelly thinks everything's fair. Now Lom with room and tried to get that whip on it to put that in the top corner. Good distance on that goal kick. I think it was Buckmars. Did he win the throw? Yeah, he did. Won it off Callahan, I think. And more basic parts of football. When in doubt, just take that throw down the line. Generally a good way to win territory. Nicholas again. Here's Jesse Michelle near the corner flag. And now, we might see, I think we're going to see another long throw from Jared Lum. No goals as of yet here in the Arctic Circle, but the important word there is yet. And a lot of late drama that we saw at this venue last season. I'll explain that more in a little bit. Here's the long throw. Hoofsloot's out, and like an Australian rules player, rising above the pack. Hoofsloot takes the mark. Rolls it out to Richard and Como. There's the ball. And now Sydney getting into the box. Cut back and then saved at the near post by Marquez. So that'll be Sydney's first corner. Sydney's first corner of the evening. And now, very muggy when we got here. Judging by how much it's cooled down in the opening 27 minutes. Myself and tonight's camera operator Jaden, we might need our jackets for the second half. They call this place the Arctic Circle for a reason. Outswinger coming in. Again, near post, and a very comfortable clearance from Bakmaz. Now, Sydney move breaks down. The Spirit unable to build anything, so Sydney will try again. Hoofsloot looking to switch towards Brissett. And Brissett, well, there's Nicholas pouncing on a slightly loose touch. Good defending there as the two number 13s go at it. Flick on from Michelle, and Chidiac is holding an R2, and he gets to the ball ahead of his defender. Chidiac, and then the second time has run into him. So Nkomo. And I mean, it's fun to watch, but I'm not sure either coach would want it to keep going back and forth, back and forth. And coaches generally don't want to turn the pattern of play into something akin to a basketball game, so perhaps that might be the instructions coming later in the game. Sydney slowing the tempo, passing it amongst the defenders, and now they go forward. Bounce back. And now Nkomo. Now Dylan Rose, Sydney skipper for this evening. They work it right to De Jesus. Brissett. Now De Jesus, and Ollie Wigan has conceded the free kick there. Now, delivery from the left side. Of course, we apologize in advance. It can be a little bit tricky to kind of correctly identify players quickly when it's on the far side of the field. As always, we will do our best. There's the tackle from Chidiac, I think. And he's ended that latest attack. Spirit trying the switch, and Wigan tried to take it almost on his heel and go around the defender at the same time. Ball's back in Sydney's possession. Now, Buckmaster's read that. Nice cushion pass towards McKinley, although then Chidiac couldn't reel that pass in. That's a shame if you support the home side, because Chidiac had a little bit of room to run into. Now, well, this might work out almost accidentally for Quintal. And his Joel Denijczyk on the near side almost runs into one of the Sydney subs warming up. It's Spirit who've won the ball back. And well, it's another chance for me to make an AFL reference. As Tyler Williams tries a specky, but that's not allowed in this sport. And that'll be a Spirit free kick. Past the half-hour mark here. Still goalless in round 1 of NPL Men's New South Wales action. Still goalless between Spirit and Sydney, but as I said earlier, I do see a lot of goals, especially late on. And there were a lot of goals in the 20s game for this one. Spirit winning by 4-3. And there's usually something dramatic happening here in Macquarie Park. We saw it a number of times last season as Nicholas reads that well and then gets the 1-2 from Wigan. Nicholas, how's the cross? It's claimed very well by Hoofslot, a very tall goalkeeper. In good command of his area, well outside his 6-yard box to catch that one. Now he's thrown it to Lachlan Middleton. And there's the ball. Has he found the right ball? A bit of a heavy touch from Quintal. Takes him wide. Spirit scrambling back. Here's Quintal. Onto the left boot. And a very loud and solid block there. I think from Nicholas, it was making the block. Well, goals are flying in around the grounds. In fact, might see a stoppage soon for Ollie Wiggins. Goes stretching out a bit of cramp, but yep, Sam Kelly bringing a temporary halt to proceedings. About to see Spirit physio Rebecca Gonzalez coming on for the first time this season. And it's a chance, I mean, it has cooled down, but this is a well-earned drinks break for all the players out there. And it's tough work, especially at the start of these NPL seasons, starting earlier and earlier. I remember in March used to be kind of, the first weekend of March used to be an early start. Now starting in the middle of February. So just looking elsewhere, Blacktown City, the team some people call the pride of Western Sydney. They found an equaliser at Landon Stadium, so 1-1 between them and Apia. And a couple of goals. Actually, 2 goals in a minute. So Sutherland took the lead against the Wanderers. Wanderers Football Park. Wanderers equalised almost straight away. And yes, the first live score app malfunction of the season. There was not a red card in that game. The Wanderers still have 11 players. So it's okay, everyone. So only 4 red cards today. Now, of course, the NPL Men's New South Wales season opened last night at Cromer Park. As I said earlier, a very nice 3-0 win to Manly. And if you haven't already, I would highly recommend going back on Football New South Wales socials. Oh, sorry, NPL New South Wales socials to check out Manly's 3rd goal, scored by Harry McCarthy. And incredible, we had a goal of the season contender on the opening night. Harry McCarthy running from near his own penalty box and then chipping the keeper from, more than 40 yards, almost 50 yards, I think. And actually was lucky enough to be there last night at Cromer Park. A great atmosphere. Friday night football, so popular when Manly United did it, I think, in 2020, 2021 and 2022. And so it's back for this year. And I actually like the Friday night time slot from a streaming perspective. It's a nice way to start the weekend. It's not just Manly. Sydney FC also utilising Illington Sports Centre on Friday nights. So a chance for those of you to enjoy some Friday night NPL Men's New South Wales action, whether at the ground or on the stream, whenever Manly or Sydney are at home. So most, not all, of their home game. Those 2 teams' home games on a Friday night. Now Quintal skips past the tackle. He's going to release Marin France, who's swapped wings. He's on the side nearest to us. Decent cross, and the header goes sideways. And Simon Nicholas has had enough of that. Towards the centre circle it goes. So yeah, of course, winger swapping quite common in football. And Sydney trying something different, swapping Brissett and Marin France, but now we go the other way. One of the Spirit wide plays, Wiggins to the edge of the box, gets it onto the left foot, and the second defender comes across. Wiggins is a very wholehearted player, is always going to battle away, even if he's outnumbered. And he's kept it. I think that's Pazukis going backwards to Lum. And Lum, it breaks down. And now Sydney are away with a couple of options going right side. Quintal. And now here's Marin France. He needs to wait for the support to come. And in the meantime, he'll run at the defense. France showing the quick feed. And it's tipped onto the woodwork. Had to be. Might end up being a good save from Chris Marquez. And Como. And there's the tackle, I think, from Chidiac. France again. Cuts inside. There's the touch. Decent touch there. Could be a big chance. Marquez saves. It's a corner and the rebound. Well, Marquez's hands were strong enough for the rebound to not fall for that Sydney player who thought he was going to have a tap in, but two good saves from Marquez in the space of a minute. It remains goalless. It's definitely not goalless other games, and in fact, Blacktown have taken the lead against Apia after conceding early, so a big first half there at Landon Stadium. That's Nkomo, another swinger, and it's Sydney's second corner of the evening. Everyone back for Spirit. A decent bend on it, and that header, I think, they'll be forced to play it. It wasn't going out. Now, well, must be a bit fortunate. Bounced over Tyler Williams. Otherwise, and that allowed Spirit to step up. Otherwise, Sydney would have just sat on Spirit, so to speak, and really pinned them up against the edge of their own box. I think that's Brissett, I think. Apologies, it's a bit hard to see that side. Kalisic now, running from centre back. Nkomo. Oh no, more apologies. That's Marin France. The Sydney wingers have swapped back. And there it goes. And Brissett was the target. Had the space, but the ball didn't reach him. Bit of a different approach from these goal kicks. I think most of them. There's one short option for Marquez. Now Grant Cornwell trots up, so this one's going to go long. So who is the target? And it's up, and Sydney wins the header. Now the defense has to chase, and Bakmaz gives Marquez a second go. Good distance on the left foot this time. Now that will be Nkomo for Sydney. Will we see a goal before half-time? As Hoofsloot overhits all of his mates. If we look ahead, as I did mention Friday Night Football earlier, we'll have that next weekend. Friday the 23rd, 7:30 p.m. at the London Sports Centre. It's Sydney FC taking on Manly United. And then Spirit's next game, that's Saturday 24th at 4:30 p.m. down at Seymour Shore. Spirit making the trip down to take on Sutherland Shire. And always a fun listen, that one, because that game will be called by the People's Champion, Nicholas Kutniak. So, loves his football, loves calling multiple sports, does Nicholas. He's no problem for him to make the trek down to Miranda to call that one. Now, Tyler Williams. There's France. Well, the Sydney wingers trying to keep the Spirit defense and me on their toes. They've slipped again, so France nearest to us, at least for now. And Quintal has been pinged. Going late in there and Bakmaz. I mean, someone named Thiago Quintal wearing the number 10 jersey. Sounds so exotic. He sounds like the new star import signing for a club. Hate to break this to you, he's from Borkham Hills. Now, Vazukis has been pinged for the free kick. going back to Tiago Quintal, he's one of quite a few players who've received Australian youth honours. Of course, given the age of these players, we'd be talking mainly about the Joeys, the Australian under-17s. But he's received national team call-ups. I'm pretty sure Lachlan Middleton has, so has Zach De Jesus, Joseph Kalisic. It's really what you want. If you're running the Sydney FC Academy, you want your players to receive national team recognition. Now, there's the turnover. And now Lawbor couldn't get the chance to run at a defender. Now Quintal again. De Jesus looking for options. Goes for the possession option. And that's Lachlan Middleton working it back to the centre backs. Now Kalisic going longer. Quintal is darting in behind. That one fairly comfortable for Marquez. By the way, keep an eye out on NPL New South Wales socials, the NPL New South Wales Facebook page, because later tonight, there'll be a bunch of reports coming in from the 7 games that were played today. And of course, the report for this game will be written, as it usually is, for a Spirit home game by Justin Smith, long-time Football New South Wales reporter. He and I almost part of the furniture here at a Spirit home game. Yes, they're on the attack. The home side, there's the touch, and the second one, well, good block. 2 Sky Blues getting in the way of the shot. I'll never know if Hoofslot would have been tested. This one now, too much elevation from Jared Lum. Hoofslot's going to go long from this goal kick. So just about to enter the final minute of regulation time in the opening period. Has absolutely flown by.
Too many turnovers, guys.
And Como towards Brissett. He cuts inside. Eyes up looking for an option. And France gets the touch. It's too heavy, and there's sweep Akimi from Marquez. Now, well, the bench wanted Tyler Williams to shoot. Perhaps didn't see that Marquez had hit the turf. And that's the Spirit free kick. Tyler Williams not seeing the keeper, was a bit out of position. So nothing to threaten the goal for the hosts. Now, okay, so I was like this commentary position, able to hear the 4th official. Now, as there's a run into the box there, which ends up as a goal kick, and I think tonight's 40, Hayden Mickelmeyer has told the 2 teams, looking at 2 minutes of time added on. Of course, that's a minimum. Could be more. Could have more stoppage time yet at Sam Kelly's discretion. And Marquez sending it into the opposition half. The good Sydney header. I think most, if not all of them, high schoolers, but against the older team, winning a lot of aerial challenges. Now, Bakmaz. And Buzukis has dropped deeper and to the left to help Spirit build perhaps one last attacking move before the halftime whistle. Buzukis is away, trying to beat Williams to the ball. Williams does that brilliantly. Tyler Williams, another player like Tiago Quintal. He's also from the Hillshire. As De Jesus runs almost to the edge of the box. De Jesus. As a solitary handball shout from the Sydney FC technical area. Now Tyler Williams. Oh, nice quick feet. And he's still up there. Here's the shot. And not too far away. Hands to the face. I think that was Callahan. And kept his calm. And made room for the shot. And he thought that was going in. It was not. And there's the halftime whistle. No goals, but by no means a defensive struggle. Very entertaining stuff in the opening of 45 minutes between Northwest Sydney Spirit and Sydney FC. The Spirit, it was Jared Lum who had quite a few shooting opportunities, but has not as of yet got his shooting radar tuned in. And while Sydney, that front three of Jacob Brissett, Marin France and Thiago Quintal asking a lot of questions. Oh, and Bailey Callahan as well. And front four. And Chris Marquez called into a couple of good saves. So we'll take a short break as the teams head into the dressing rooms. This is Eric Subiano. Hope you're enjoying Football New South Wales coverage of NPL Men's New South Wales. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Welcome back to the second half of Football New South Wales coverage. Round 1 of NPL Men's New South Wales for 2024. Currently goalless between Northwest Sydney Spirit and Sydney FC. Given the way things have gone at this game, especially last year, we don't expect that to be the same way for the second period of 45 minutes. No halftime subs for Sydney, but we can report there is a halftime sub for Spirit. And number 7, Richie Darko, on for the second period. And he's replacing Jared McKinley, number 4. So number 7, Richie Darko, on for number 4, Jared McKinley. C doesn't look like that's result in any kind of formation change for Spirit. So Darko replacing McKinley. Straight swap in Spirit's central midfield. I might remind you of the two formations when I get the appropriate chance. As I said, Sydney haven't made any changes. Now, there's Quintal. Out wide, Marin France running at Nicholas. France almost runs into a cul-de-sac, but he's kept possession. And then I think that's Chidiak. And then I think Michelle it was helping it forward. Oh, sorry, Bazooka. Sorry, not sure what that was. My apologies. But now Jesse Michelle is 1-on-1, and Hoofslot has to backpedal. There was a little bit of an opportunity potentially to shoot early. Michelle kept it away from 2 and then zings it, I think, accidentally into Luis Lobo's heel. There's Nkomo. And it just went behind Bailey Callahan. Wigan. Nice little shimmy. And Bazooka's getting involved, but now it's back. And now 2 of Spirit's more experienced players. There's Cornwell and Lum, but it's gone, I think, possibly an off-the-ball foul, maybe against Lachlan Middleton. Spirit will keep the ball. Now, of course, David Perkovic's sides don't like slow it down too much, so Jared Lum just gets things back underway with the short pass. Cornwell towards Lobo, and foot in there from Kalasic. He's had a good game so far in Sydney's backline. So Chidiak. Now Lobo, a little scoop pass, looking for a Darko. And of course, try to run forward as often as possible. Tyler Williams. And draws the ire of the home fans and the Spirit bench. And despite that, it'll be a Sydney goal kick. So just a reminder of the 2 sets of players up here. They're on the field today. So for Spirit in goal, number 1, Chris Marquez. Their back 3 is number 8, the captain, Grant Cornwell. Number 16, Ante Bakmaz, making the Spirit debut. And number 13, Simon Nicholas. 4 in midfield, number 17, Jake Chidiak on the right. Number 11, Ollie Wigan on the left. In central midfield, number 20, Jared Lum. Number 7, Richard Darko. And the front 3 for Spirit, number 19, Jesse Michelle. Number 21, Luis Lobo. And number 9, Yanni Bazukis. Also making his Spirit debut after coming over from Wellington Olympic in New Zealand. Now Marquez slowing it down. And the Sydney lineup, by the way, looks like they're in a 4-3-3. So in goal for them, number 30, Gus Hoofsloot. I'll just hold that thought to see as this Spirit move develops. There's double marking there, throw on, yes. But in Sydney's goal, number 30, Gus Hoofsloot. Their back 4 from left to right is number 5, Richard Nkomo. Number 4, Joseph Kalasic. Number 3, Tyler Williams. And number 21, Zachary De Jesus. 3 in midfield, number 6, Dylan Rose, the captain. Number 8, Lachlan Middleton. And in the playmaker role, number 10, Tiago Quintal. And the front 3, the centre forward role, number 9, Bailey Callahan. On the wings, they keep swapping, but it's number 11, Marin France, and number 13, Jacob Brissett. Sydney have all 5 subs available to them. So I am thankful for this position. The technical errors right in front of us. We'll be able to see the subs before they take place. Sydney winning that free kick. By the way, Spirit have already made a sub, so the 5 possibilities to come on later for them. Jack Greenwood's the backup keeper. The other Spirit bench options, Kyle Shaw, normally a defender, plus Bradley Whitworth, Braden Burr and Zach Chanchi. While Sydney's bench, Howard Fondike could choose from Noel Matthey, Jared Middleton, Will Kennedy, Matthias McAllister, Jai Rose, and Alexander Zavadinos. That's Bazookas. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. Sky Blue jerseys tracking back Bazookas into the box, but the weighted numbers wins the day. And here's Wigan coming in, doesn't win the 50-50. And now Sydney chance for an attack. They go direct, but not quite where Callahan wanted it. Bit of a stumble there from Chidiac. It works out, and now he's got room to run with those bright lime green boots. Potential 2-on-1 here if Spirit are quick enough. Here's Wigan. Bazookas is there as well, but Wigan up, flags up. Flags up. Bit of a late flag, but that's the call. And that kills that Spirit attack. Of course, did hint earlier at late drama at this ground. And it was actually in the excellent round one preview written by Jack George, a very talented young Football New South Wales writer. I believe he also does some analysis work for the UNSW. That team that got promoted last year to League One. But in games involving Spirit, 20 goals after the 80th minute as Marquez clears, and 15 of them were meaningful in some way, like having an effect on the final result. So don't switch away to another stream, because there usually is late drama. It does tend to be a lot of late drama in the Arctic Circle as well. And as Spirit's home record suggests, the late goals tending to fall Spirit's way. And for a newly promoted team, excellent at home in 2023. 8 wins, 3 draws, just the 4 losses. Very positive record on their own patch of synthetic turf. As there's the ball to Lobo. And a strong tackle from Kalasic. Another good play from Sydney's number 4. Sydney FC jersey, wearing number 4 and a strong tackler. Absolutely love to see that. Now that's gone against Sydney that time, though. Too strong, that tackle, according to the assistant on the far side, Sean Lacey. Is immediately waving his flag to get Sam Kelly's attention. As the ball out from the back, and Como almost caught out for a minute, but the ball not a bit too far in front of Chidiac. That's Hoofslot's turn to switch the play. And sorry about that. They got a bit startled by a moth here. So it's a summer evening in Australia. It's that time of evening. Got to make sure I bring insect repellent the next time I come here. And then Lobo this time flagged for offside.
We need you guys. Come on, focus.
Ball down the far side, and France once again the target. But once again, he's unable to get through. Goes back to Marquez. In fact, it's a touch off Sydney, apparently, so he was able to pick it up. Then Sydney want a free kick. Spirit want a call. Sydney throw in. And then well, it's hard to see exactly what's going on. No one seems particularly happy. Sam Kelly signaled for a throw-in, and after some discussion, that's what we'll have. Bazookas. And a dummy from Sam Kelly. Darko screaming for the through ball, but Hoofslot again commanding and plays that into safety. There's the cross, and I think that's too much for the players running in at the back post. Of course, the longer this goes, this remains goalless, the more the tension will build. And there's goals flying in elsewhere. And Blacktown City now leading 3-1 against RPL Leichhardt in the battle of this competition's last two champions. Marconi have retaken the lead against Wollongong, leading by 2-1. Rockdale have doubled their lead. They're now leading 2-0 over St George City. And the Wanderers, after conceding the first goal, have come from behind. They're leading 2-1 against Sutherland. Now moved into the box, and that's a bit of a heavy touch, so Nicholas can calmly shepherd that out for the goal kick. If we look ahead, I've written down each team's first 6 games of the season. So as for Spirit, after this, Sutherland away on Saturday the 24th. Then it's Marconi away. Then a midweek game, Sydney United at home. That's Tuesday the 5th of March. We're trying something different for this season. Those midweek games are, by the way, so we can bring back the final series, so we have enough time in the competition window. Excuse me. So that's the way we fit 30 rounds into 28 weeks, and we have enough time for finals, which will be a 16 final series this year. Now, that's claimed by Marquez. Bit of a heavy touch there. And after that, as Chidiac looks for options. So after Spirit's midweek game against Sydney United, they then have an away trip to Western Sydney Wanderers, and then a home game here against St George City in round 6, which, of course, one of the teams they got promoted with at the end of the 2022 season. Meanwhile, for Sydney, as I said earlier, they're playing their next games on Friday the 23rd against Manly United at their it's the ground they'll call home once again, at least for this season, Illingdon Sports Centre. Followed that by what I like to call the Illingdon Sports Centre Derby. They're in round 3. Sydney are playing St George FC, both of them, those teams calling Illingdon home. Then they have a game on Wednesday, the 6th of March, away to Hills United at Landon Stadium. Then a bit of a short turnaround, a game 2 days later against Central Coast Mariners at home. And then in round 6, it's the big one, the kids derby, the youth derby, whatever you want to call it. Sydney FC versus Western Sydney Wanderers at Illingdon Sports Centre. Here's Michelle. No room to play that ball through as Lobo was making the run. Now Kalasic. Brings the ball back, goes on with it. But then it's a backwards pass. Sydney not sensing the opportunity to break lines. Now Callahan able to turn, plays it to the far touchline. That's France, I think. Now long-range effort, and Marquez just watches it hit the fence behind his goal. Meanwhile, instructions coming in. Spirit assistant Luca Falcone's got the tablet out, and pretty soon we'll see the introduction of Kyle Shaw. And having seen Kyle Shaw play, tell you what, he's an absolutely giant man. You'd be doing well to beat him in the air. Nothing to suggest. Oh, actually, by the way, we might see Will Kennedy in the number 22 jersey for Sydney coming on soon. He looks like he's just about ready to enter the fray. And yes, it is about that time, the hour mark. Teams like to make subs, especially when the scores are level. Now, this player stretching out a bit of cramp might be Brezet. So perhaps Brezet is the player that will make way. But we go on as there's Kalasic. Nice switch to find France. And France has got pretty much almost every Spirit player in front of him. Let's think, is that Middleton? Lachlan Middleton stepping around Lobo. And now Brezet is still okay, still quick enough and fit enough to keep it in. Back to Nkomo, who's come forward from left back. Quintal now, and Como continued his run in the box, plays it over his head, and Marquez's shouts of away, heeded, as a bird lands on the field. That off frame, I'm sure our avian friend will fly off in a hurry if the ball goes anywhere near them. Now Sydney in the box once again with Callahan, low across the box, and that's great goalkeeping from Marquez. I think there were runners at the far post. Marquez made sure it didn't get to any of them. It's Bazukis. Now I think they go long, and Wiggins. It's going to be tough to keep that in play, but the ball does force the header, defensive header, and it will be a Spirit throw-in, but yes, subs made by both teams here, and it is it's just the hour mark. So Carl Shaw coming on. I think that's Gianni Bazukis, who's worked hard up front, but no goal on his Spirit debut. He'll be replaced by Carl Shaw. That's a defender coming on for a forward, so we'll see what kind of reshuffle David Perkovich has cooked up. And Lachlan Middleton is the player to be replaced by Will Kennedy. Now Darko shoots, and quite a smack, quite a sound as and rebounds off a Sydney defender. So I'm just going to keep track of where the new Sydney player Will Kennedy is. See if he's in midfield just like Lachlan Middleton was. Now, Michelle holds up Kalisic well. That's been a nice battle that's developed. But then the pass intercepted by France. France again. And France, I think, has won the free kick off Carl Shaw. And Carl Shaw is also the first play into a ref's notebook for this evening. So, shout out once again to Justin Smith, who will have to take note of all those details for the report, which you'll see on the NPL New South Wales socials later this evening. And big shout out also, well, predominantly to the man they call the Golden Greek, Mark Stavroulakis, longtime Football New South Wales media manager. I'm sure he's ready for another shift of another Saturday night of making sure these reports go up as quick as they can, as soon after full time as is possible. It's a tough gig. 7 NPL men's New South Wales games in one evening. Perhaps not the friendliest schedule for the media. Anyway, Sydney free kick. There's the signal. And left-footed delivery to the near post and up in the air. Shaw pokes it away. Chance for Spirit to step up. Hoofsloot. He's with the centre circle, and he was directing the goal to go straight back into the mixer. Sydney's, the outfielders in front of him, instead opting for possession. And there's Kalisic, who was up for the set piece. Now back in defence. And Como able to turn. Nice pocket of space there, and that will run through to Marquez. So I think, yeah, for Sydney, it appears to be a straight swap. Appears to be a straight swap. Will Kennedy on for Lachlan Middleton in the Sydney midfield. Sydney try again. That swings away from Lobo. Kalisic.
Get low, get low. He wants his right.
Brissett cutting in as he likes to do. Quintal can't really link with Nkomo. And now Michelle tracked all the way by Kalisic. And Brissett. Brissett cutting in once again. Now he's found the teammate, and ball not getting through to Kennedy with the fresh legs off the bench for Sydney. There we go. And the cushion header. That's nice from Jesse Michelle. Here's Lum. Clipped late, but I think we'll go on because there's room. And now Darko with a nice ball. Wigan will keep this in play. And Como chasing back. Wigan rides that tackle to the byline. And he crosses, but hoofs float. Nice. And confident claim, the one that gives defenders and fans a lot of confidence. 65 minutes, still goalless between Spirit and Sydney. Both teams still trying to draw first blood. And it's been very interesting as these two teams vary the tempo, try and target different parts of the field to try and get the advantage. Now, Chidiak gone safety first. It will be a throw-in. In fact, there's a Spirit player down. Needs some stretching. Might be Simon Nicholas, I suspect, because he was the player that had moved out to the left midfield slot after that substitution. Carl Shaw replaced him in central defence. And as part of that Spirit change that we saw a couple of minutes ago. Ollie Wigan has gone into Spirit's front three, but now, well, we hope everything's okay with Simon Nicholas and who's put in another solid performance. There's been another clever signing by David Perkovic after joining from RPL Leichhardt. But you do kind of tend to see these things, especially in the warmer weather, especially in the early parts of the season. So the physio's on. Of course, a chance to get a drink. I might do that as well, actually. And also a chance for the coaching staff to give instructions. Heading close to the home straight, so to speak. It does look more and more likely that any goal would be a winner. Also, we do see Zach Chanchi in Spirit's number 18 jersey. He's the latest to get the instructions off Luca Falcone's tablet, so suspect he'll be on, and he might actually be on now because fortunately Simon Nicholas not moving too freely. So I suspect that's the last we've seen of Spirit's number 13, which is a shame, but doesn't look to be anything too serious. In fact, Braden Burr, number 15 for Spirit, might come on, if not now, then soon. So, yep. It's an unfortunate one for Simon Nicholas, but that's the way football goes sometimes. And midway through the second half, Zach Chanchi will be on. Now we'll see. Looks like he's going to go in the front three for Spirit, and Ollie Wigan has dropped back to the left side of Spirit's four-player midfield. Dylan Rose now, Sydney's captain for today. And Marin France doubled up on Chanchi straight into the action. And that's Wigan. He's always so good at that. A winger who defends with as much enthusiasm as he attacks Ollie Wigan, and does win a lot of balls near his own penalty area and wins a lot of free kicks like that. He's a very important player for the way David Perkovic wants to play. Now Sydney trying to press high. Goes back. It's a bit of an awkward one, and Marquez has had enough of that. Towards Michelle. Tried to cushion it. This time the cushion header didn't work. And it goes back to Hoofsloot. Pinpoint ball to France, keeps it in play. Tracked once again by Wigan. The second defender doesn't work out for Spirit that time. France still has it. And now, it's France. I think that's Callahan. Carl Shaw, watching him all the way. And Shaw blocks the cross, but it's still with France, I think. Yes, goes out of the box. Now here's the cross, and, well, there's a second ball here. Here's a chance, maybe. Possibly Kennedy it was with the shot. That's blocked. Brezet keeps it in by the corner flag. Now he crosses, goes far post, and Shaw. Well, yes, when you're that tall, you do tend to win everything that goes your way in the air. And after all that, corner kick, which by my very manual tally, which is not at all to be trusted, Sydney's third corner of the game. Yeah, I think it's just the kind of things that happen in round one. I think maybe you cramp up or something like that. Looks like Simon Nicholas will be okay for next weekend. Now, Sydney attack. There's the shot. Deflected, and deflections often a keeper's worst nightmare, but that one looked like, if anything, it helped Marquez because the shot ended up going straight at him. I say, yep, Zach Chanchi, so now Spirit have probably sorted out the reshuffle. Chanchi on the right of Spirit's front three. Lorbo going to the left of that front three. There's Wigan. Now Lum. Lum, potential switch on, open. Chidiac wants it in front of him. Here's Darko. And I think he wanted to play the through ball to Chidiac. And that's good defending from Callahan, didn't let him do it. And we're going to see another sub. So it's Gyros. Two Roses on the field now. Gyros on for Jacob Brissett. Appears to be a straight swap. Gyros taking up a wide position. In fact, it's another sub with Noah Matthey coming on from Marin France. So both of Sydney's wingers being replaced at the same time as we enter the final 21 minutes. Darko uses his body to win the free kick. And now Chanchi will be onside, sorry. So it requires the defensive header from Hoofslot. Now Nkomo taking it back the other way for Sydney, but it was good defending from Michelle, prevented any kind of forward progress. It shows the work of both teams tonight showed attackers don't just attack. They've got to defend, maybe not go back all the way into their own box, but they've got to press the players around them, their direct opponents. It's so important to just help relieve the pressure on your midfield and your defense when your attackers are as hard-working as what we've seen tonight. And it also does explain why, might also explain why both Sydney starting wingers, France and Brissett, haven't lasted the 90 minutes. But it's very much a squad game these days. You get 5 subs, especially in the warmer weather, might as well use them. Now, could break for Sydney here. It's a chance on the left foot. Marquez saves. Gyros. And it's Gyros. He hits the turf. And that. Yes. Oh. So it wasn't quite. Apologies, it wasn't quite sure where Sam Kelly was pointing. Yeah, he was pointing for a Sydney throw. Yeah, we know it's not a penalty, despite the big shout from the Sydney technical area. Sydney once again asking the questions. Once again, questions answered by Spirit. Chanchi, and yep, that's a free kick. Right, and halfway, that's going to relieve the pressure. Spirit need that just so they can step up and take a little bit of a breather. Lum. Switch and Chidiac wide open here, but that's why he was open. Flag up from Joel Denijczyk, the assistant nearest to us. Offside. Well, St. George City pulled one back, so Rockdale still winning 2-1 at Penshurst Park. Marconi have defeated Wollongong 2-1. And there's another goal for the Pride of Western Sydney at Landers Stadium. Blacktown City are winning by 4 goals to 1 over Apia. Well, I'm not sure how many people expected that. And then Chidiac dragged down Gyros, the substitute. That's a yellow card. And it's heating up. Not on the scoreboard, but certainly in terms of the challenges coming in. Sydney set piece. Quintal once again. It's 2 left footers. It'll be Nkomo or Quintal. I mean, the way they're standing, Quintal looks more likely. He's got 4 in the middle to aim for. Interesting. The very tall Kalasic hasn't gone up for this one as Quintal delivers. And the header was a second ball for De Jesus. He goes first time, and it's over everything, including the big net behind the Spirit goal. Into the final quarter of an hour here. There's still plenty of time for things to change. And, well, it's been given away to Jai Rose with the pass. It did end up finding Dylan Rose, but it gave Spirit the chance to get behind the ball. Sydney losing a little bit of impetus, but they still have the ball. That's the main thing. Shaw's covering this, and he'll see that over for a goal kick. Just waiting for the opening goal, but late goals, as I said earlier, they do come, and sometimes they come in a flurry. If you've watched a lot of Spirit home games, you may remember April Fool's Day last year. Spirit versus Wollongong Wolves. Wollongong Wolves took a 4-2 lead in the 83rd minute, and somehow Spirit ended up winning 5-4. An absolutely incredible game, so don't turn away, as you might miss something brilliant. And here's Sydney on the attack. There's the ball and the header. A lone handball shout. Not sure if that was a spectator or a Sydney coach. We'll go on. And now that was Michelle outnumbered. By the way, that comeback by Spirit, that 5-4 win over Wollongong last year, of course. Lots of you will remember Richard Darko scoring from 45 yards out to win it. But in the meantime, Sydney on the attack. And the ball is swept up by Ante Bakmaz. And there's Darko on the ball. Chanchi holding off Nkombo. Has some options. Instead, he wanted to go right and couldn't pick out Chidiak. And yeah, once again, back, of course. That 5-4 win, Spirit over Wollongong. Richard Darko scoring what was voted the goal of the season. An incredible game, and as Jaden would remember well, he had to go to the car park and get some equipment during the game, leaving me to film and do commentary at the same time. And let me tell you, I wasn't good at either of those things. So, yeah, I did, but I just wasn't good at it. And that's gone Spirit's way. Now Sydney preparing another sub. That'll be 33, Matthias McAllister. Now, can't confirm this. Suspect he might be the son of former A-League player, former Australian Youth International Dylan McAllister. We'll hold that thought as there's the shot, and Marquez, 2 strong hands. That might stay in. There's the cross and the cutback. Sydney try again, and Jai Rose has sent it over the bar from 2 yards out, and Spirit have escaped there. Anyway, I suspect if Matthias McAllister has the lineage, I think he is. Firstly, I think he's an Avalon Junior. Shout out to all the fine people on the Northern Beaches over there. But I think he is the son of former A-League player Dylan McAllister. Dylan McAllister, of course, a youth international as well. Played in this competition, also at Manly United. Apologies in advance if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case. Quintal. Goes up and headed away by Chidiak now. Of course, headed back pass is always potentially a little bit scary for fans, but that looked pretty comfortable for Marquez. Braden Burr about to come on for Spirit as well. Carl Shaw. And now Michelle has snaffled that up, and a crunching tackle, including a player taking out a teammate, but has gotten up. I think that's Kennedy, the substitute. He really took everything with that ball. And now he's going to try to switch a play. That's, I think, Wigan back, the header towards Lobo. And now Lum able to beat the play with the first us. And Jared Lum has gone from way out and hoofs float. It's ball's died the trajectory. Couldn't repeat Richie Darker's heroics from last season. And Hoofslot makes another save. Meanwhile, Braden Burr and Matthias McAllister continuing to wait patiently. As Nigel Owen, Football New South Wales photographer, moves to get a different position. Quintal, little ding pass, he'll find gyros. Back to Quintal. And here he is, the shot! It's just over the bar. Marquez potentially had it covered. Quintal looking a little bit more lively in the recent minutes. So once again, we're glad to have a position right behind the technical areas. Matthias McAllister coming on. Well, possibly suspect that's for Sydney number 9, Bailey Callahan. So Matthias McAllister wearing number 33. And Braden Burr's come on for Louis Lorbo, I think. So a couple of subs in the 81st minute. So we've seen subs in the 61st, 71st, and 81st minutes. So does that mean we'll see a sub in the 91st minute as well? Let me think. Well, if I remember the rules correctly, Sydney have used all their sub windows. Spirit still have a substitution window remaining. Of course, just in case you weren't perhaps newer to football or not less familiar with this particular rule. You have 5 subs, but you only have 3 substitution windows, plus the halftime break to make substitutions. So you can't make those 5 subs one at a time in the second half to try and run down the clock or whatever you want to do. A couple more goals around the ground, so I'll let you know what's going on in a little moment. But here's Lum, and now Grant Cornwell coming forward from central defence. He delivers, and decent curl on it, but couldn't find another gold jersey. It's one back, and now I think that's Burr. Tried the finesse, but all he did was find Gus Hoofslot. So full time at Penshurst Park. Rockdale have beaten St George City by 2-1. Also a 5th goal for Blacktown City. They're leading 5-1 over Apia. Looking to head to the top of the table after one round. And the Wanderers have scored again, so they lead 3-1 over Sutherland. Shaw headed and Lum couldn't reel it in. So Sydney chance. Gyros. And Rose cuts inside. Great block from Chidiak, I think that was. And the ball, well, technically not quite a block. And he's taken the sting out of Gyros' shot. And Marquez claims the ball easily. Chidiak may be forced into more defending as well, but Gyros backed off, allowed Chidiak to bring it down on his chest. Jared Lum wants some options. Now Will Kennedy applying the pressure. By the way, belated happy birthday to Will Kennedy. Yeah. Yes, that will be, well, I thought it was going to be the keepers. Instead, I think that's Tyler Williams that takes over. Now, well, after all that, he tried to measure his options, then just ended up giving it straight to the opposition. But Sydney have won it back, and there's the ball. And Cornwell, how many times has he done that for Spirit over the years? And everyone's so glad to see him back after he missed last season with an ACL injury and losing all that experience. Cornwell in the perfect position. Bakmaz lobbing it forward. There's the header possibly from De Jesus. Now Kennedy. Bounce of Quintal and Como now with Gyros in front of him. And Rose resuming the battle with Chidiac. There's Rose. Gyros playing on the wing with that long hair. Looks like Connor Rose from Manly United. Wonder if they're related. Sydney keep it moving. And there's Kalisic. And right idea, got it through the Spirit defenders, but too much weight on it for Rose. Gyros, that is. Yeah, into 85 minutes on the clock. Still 0-0 between Northwest Sydney Spirit and Sydney FC. This venue does see a lot of late goals. Nice. The way the games go here, sometimes enough time for 2 or 3 goals. As Marquez goes long, Sydney, at least the Technico, seems pretty confident they caught at least one person offside, and they were right. According to the assistant on the near side, to Joel Denijczyk, flags up. Sydney not hanging around, but perhaps they were a little bit too quick there because they've sent it straight back to Marquez. Cornwell going long and Hoofsloot off his line, and Hoofsloot, well, almost misjudged it. In the end, he heads it sideways, taking it away from Braden Burr, who'd made a very threatening run. But that was nice from Marquez, dropping it in between the Sydney defence and keeper. A little bit of hesitation. Hoofsloot's done just enough, though. But Jared Lum, yep, enough in the legs and maps, more importantly, the shoulders, because I think we're going to see another long throw. Burr's quite tall, so's Michelle, so's Chanchi. There's a lot of tall timber for Lum to aim at. There it goes, over Chanchi. In fact, it's Carl Shaw who gets the touch on it, lands on the roof of the net. Now, well, actually, of course, don't get ball kids at this level. Hoofsloot retrieving his own ball. That was given Spirit plenty of time to get back. How do I just look ahead to streams coming up on the Football New South Wales YouTube page? By the way, thanks so much for your support. We really appreciate it. So tomorrow, 6 p.m, it's the match of the round from the second tier, League One Men's, Mount Druitt Town Rangers versus Bonnyrigg White Eagles at Poppendetta Park. 2 teams who will surely be aiming for promotion back to the top tier. Michelle. Now, couldn't find Darko. Lum. Big collision between him and Rose. And we'll go on with Wigan. And Wigan, never afraid of running at a defender. That's Carl Shaw to Darko, and Darko looking to take advantage of the rebound. There's a few Spirit players up here. Now it's open for Chidiac across the face of goal, and is bailed out. I think that was Kalisic. Gets the thanks and the congratulations from Hoofsloot. Joey Kalisic has been excellent today. And with that kind of defensive ability, wearing a Sydney FC number 4 jersey, it's just like watching Tory Tumeth. It was almost Spirit's best chance of the evening. Kalisic said no, but still the corner. In-swinger. Well, actually, no, it's a short corner, or a variation. Chidiac touches it with the studs. Couldn't get it through the crowd. Now this could be wide open for Sydney. It's 4-3. And the handball shouts. Wiggins sore. And we might go on. Wigan, it's getting a bit chaotic, as tends to be the case late on in games. Now, Wiggins got to get back to his feet. So Spirit hoping he's not too sore. Now that last-ditch tackle was vital. He was very much outnumbered. His team was outnumbered. Here's Nkomo. Another bombing run forward. And a strong header from Cornwell. Will Kennedy. And goes too long for everyone. A little bit of chance for a breather as we enter the final minute of the regulation 90. By the way, another goal at Landon. Blacktown City leading 6-1 over Apia. So they'll lead the NPL men's New South Wales table after round 1. Kalisic. We've seen his ability defending. Let's see have with the ball. Pressed by Michelle, trying to find Rose, and it bounces towards McAllister. Oh, sorry, Quintal. And now Quintal scoops it forward. Marquez off his line quickly. Had to be good command of the penalty area from Spirit's number 1. Just a note on Spirit's goalkeeping stocks. They have brought Jack Greenwood back to the club. He's on the bench today, but Greenwood, a lot of experience in this league. He was the keeper when Manly United made the grand final 2 years ago, so Spirit well looked after, you'd think, regardless of whether it's Marquez or Greenwood between the sticks. Now the touch from Michelle, he stumbled a little bit. Big shout from Spirit, and we'll go on. Well, Darko has to get up, and in fact, Jesse Michelle stayed. And, well, Will Kennedy is getting into it, and there's things that need to be calmed down here as we're into stoppage time. And Michelle, I think, will need some treatment. Rebecca Gonzalez waiting patiently to be called on. And Sam Kelly's got a little bit of sorting out to do here. So, time for everyone to take a breather. And it's Michelle, I think. Oh, sorry. No, Burr, Braden Burr and Will Kennedy, I think that is, being spoken to. And does Justin Smith have more paperwork? Does he have more yellow cards to note in his report, which you can see later tonight? Well, I mean, if he was going to book them, he'd have done it by now. That looks like warning body language. Indeed it is. Now, of course, streams coming up next weekend in NPL Men's New South Wales on Friday. Sydney FC versus Manly United, 7:30 p.m. Illington Sports Centre. 4 games on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. It's Sutherland Sharks versus Spirit FC. That'll be called by the People's Champion Nicholas Kutniak. 5 p.m. Saturday, Sydney Olympic versus St. George City. That'll be called by the caller they call Pretty Boy, Alexander Molchanov. Saturday, 7 p.m. Hills United versus Western Sydney Wanderers, called by the Adonis, Will Gotsis. And also at 7 p.m. on Saturday, St. George FC versus Blacktown City. That'll be the commentary debut for Ireland's own David Feeney. 3 games on Sunday in NPL Men's New South Wales that will stream for you. And that skips away from Nkombo. So 3 p.m. kickoffs on Sunday. Sydney United, 58 versus Wollongong. And also at 3 p.m. Rockdale versus Marconi. And then at 4 p.m. RPL Leichhardt versus Central Coast Mariners, Sunday 25th. 4 p.m. from Leichhardt Oval, because Lambert Park's being redeveloped. They're relaying the surface, but yes. And next on Sunday 25th, that RPL Leichhardt versus Central Coast Mariners game, that'll be called by the Serbian Martin Tyler, Nikola Pozdo. Also, we go to next weekend's League One men's stream, because of course we got one on Sunday with Mount Druitt versus Bonnyrigg. Friday the 23rd, 8 p.m. It's what I like to call the Battle of the Big Cats. Bankstown City Lions versus Northern Tigers from Jensen Park. That'll also be called by Nikola Pozdo. So, and you think your choice now? Just wait till the women's comp starts. And we're doing 17 streams a weekend. So, well, that's been sorted out. We've had almost 3 minutes of time added on. So, any play to win the game is going to have to be quick. And by the way, RPF scored, so they're only losing 6-2 now. Gyros allowed to turn. And brought down by Lum. So, on a set piece. A bit further out than any aspiring set piece taker we think is ideal, but we have seen them flying from that kind of range. I think it's still close enough to be a direct shot. And I think I'll try and keep track of everything. At least there's going to be no more substitutions to challenge my observational abilities. Oh, RPF scored again at 6-3. What's going on at Landon? 9 goals, huh? Now, there's the free kick. And no, it is not a direct shot. I was wrong again. It's a strong tackle from Chanchi, but there will be no chance for a counter. That's that. Honours even between Spirit and Sydney FC in round 1 here at the Arctic Circle. It's remained goalless, a 0-0 draw, and both teams take a point and a clean sheet as they prepare for round 2. For Sydney, really threatening, especially when they brought attackers off the bench. And their wingers, the likes of Gyros, Jacob Brissett, and Marin France at times provided something to look forward to for Sydney fans as they go through the remainder of the season. For Spirit, They have defended their fortress in a sense. They've avoided defeat. And there's plenty of good defending. And it was good to see club legend Grant Cornwell get through 90 minutes for the first time ever in the top tier of New South Wales men's football. And these two teams play next weekend. Once more reminder, Sydney are playing on Friday the 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Sydney FC versus Manly United from the Illingdon Sports Centre. While Spirit's next game, Saturday 24, 4:30 p.m. They travel to Seymour Shore, taking on Sutherland Sharks. You'll be able to see both of those games and many more on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. But for now, this is Eric Subihano signing off. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of myself, Justin Smith, tonight's reporter, and Jaden Smith, tonight's camera operator. We'll see you next time.